All right, we'll get going. I want to welcome you to Monday Motivation. Today we're talking about finding your purpose after you've been through hardship. So, first of all, have you ever looked around at your life, especially now after you've gotten through this difficult season? Have you ever looked around and thought, wow, I got through that. I survived. But now what? I just go back to what I was doing before? Well, that doesn't seem like enough. Those were the thoughts I had. Uh, and you're certainly not alone if you've had thoughts like that. So many of us reach a turning point after the crisis passes. But the questions then begin. Finding meaning and purpose in our lives after dealing with illness is an essential part of the healing and recovery process. And it's not just illness, it's other difficulties that we go through in life, other traumas. Maybe it's, another death of a family member, or maybe it's uh, many other traumas. Maybe it's childhood trauma that we're carrying with us now as an adult. But it feels like there's a lack of purpose or meaning in our lives, maybe. So, but an essential part of the healing and recovery process is finding your purpose and understanding, why am I here on this earth? To me, it was a big hole I had to fill. And so I spent a lot of time working on it. So if we haven't met before, my name is Terry Stirk, and I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm now living my purpose as a wellness coach and an author. I want to talk to you about something that often goes unspoken, and that's finding your purpose after a hardship, an illness, family issues, or any other sort of trauma or difficulty that you go through. It's common just to sit back and say, now what? So how do we shift from just surviving to now seeking a purpose and living our life even better than we did before? In my book, Thrive After Breast Cancer, and many of you have read this book, I talk a lot about purpose throughout the book, specifically towards the end of the book. And one of the quotes is from the book is, healing doesn't mean going back to who you were. It means uncovering who you've become. That shift from surviving to seeking purpose is what we're talking about today. It can feel disorienting, uncertainty, or you have limited beliefs. You start second guessing yourself. You're no longer in a fight mode. You're in a recovery mode. So maybe doctor's appointments have slowed down, the chaos has settled, and you're alone. You're left in silence with many questions. Many women that I've talked to over the years say things like, I thought I'd feel more grateful, but I just feel lost. Well, that's not failure. That's the next stage of healing. Having those feelings are perfectly normal. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. That's a quote from Melody Beattie. And I love that quote, and it's one I go to quite often. because living a gracious life helps us make sense of our past. And it helps us have peace for today and also sets us up for tomorrow. So finding your true purpose can feel complicated, difficult. It's easy to make excuses and convince yourself that you are content with your life and where you are today. Maybe it's because you're comfortable and don't want to take risks that may upset the balance. But if you are still questioning if this is still all there is, don't worry. You're not alone. Just keep asking yourself those questions. So, what are the signs that you're ready to discover a purpose and to find a new way of living? How do you know it's time to reconnect with your purpose? You feel unsettled, like there's something more. You're asking bigger questions, like, why am I still here? You're feeling nudged to share or to serve or to shift something in your life, but you're not sure what. Here's the truth that I've learned from my own experiences. Your life doesn't have to look the same for it to be meaningful. Sometimes purpose is born out of what nearly broke you, from the pain you've been through. The search for purpose is a journey that many people embark on. And while it may not be easy, the rewards are worth the effort. They're immeasurable. Discovering your purpose can give you a sense of clarity and fulfillment that can transform your life in countless ways. So take heart and know that the answers you seek are waiting for you to discover. Embrace the journey and enjoy the ride, for your life's purpose is waiting to be revealed. It's a process. It's a journey. So be patient if you haven't figured it out yet. When you have a clear sense of purpose, you can be intentional about your time and focus on people and activities that align with your values and your goals. Having a purpose allows you to stay motivated when you run into additional difficulties later. Knowing what you're doing has meaning and impact can help you push through challenges and setbacks that you may have. Finding your true purpose can feel complicated. I understand that. But purpose doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be huge. I want to free you from the pressure that purpose has to be something like writing a book, starting a nonprofit, climbing a mountain. It might be sharing your story with just one person or supporting someone while they're walking the same path you took, or simply showing up with compassion for yourself and others whenever the need arises. I started out facilitating a support group in my city at the hospital, at two different hospitals where I had been treated. I also got involved in fundraising for breast cancer causes. These were two small things that helped me give back for the support provided to me. I was still a wife and a mother, and I was still working full time, but I was still searching for my purpose, and giving back to the community helped me feel like I was at least leaning in the right direction. So let's take a breath and ask ourselves, what matters to me now? And when do I feel most alive or moved? Who do I feel called to encourage or to help? This often whispers. You just have to be still and hear it. Your purpose isn't behind you, it's unfolding ahead of you, shaped by your story, your resilience, your faith. If you're still figuring out, that's okay and perfectly normal. Sometimes the next step is just to stay open and willing. You're here for a reason. The phrase, we are here for such a time as this, I think is very fitting. Even in your quietest moments, your life is speaking something meaningful into the world. So don't be afraid to lean in and listen. As we near the end of today's discussion, I encourage you to answer this question. What's one thing you feel called to do, to say, or create? Now that you've come through this difficult season, what is that one thing? Does something fall in, enter your mind when you ask yourself that question? I'd love to see your responses. Please note them in the comments if you have a thought about that question. As always, I'm cheering you on. Have a great Monday. Goodbye.